You're listening to SM Media, the home of exclusive West of Scotland Football League content. Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the West of Scotland Football Show right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always. Delighted to be joined in this week's episode as we look back in the weekend's action by St Cadoc's first team coach, Gary Fleming. Gary, welcome to the show. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me, Scott. Cheers. Thanks for the invite, mate.
Absolute pleasure. I'm really looking forward to this as well. We'll go through obviously the results over the weekend in the West of Scotland, but we'll start with asking you a bit about St Cadoc so far. 5 points for 3 games. There was a lot of kind of buzz about the recruitment over the summer. How's the early kind of season been so far?
Really good in terms of if you speak to John the gaffer and Kieran Donnelly, the assistant, and myself, we're really happy with the squad we've assembled. And it's a talented bunch. We had a good pre-season. What we've probably do is probably been interrupted by a few injuries, so if you John has probably not had the full suite of players to actually pick from, to pick his strongest 11 as such, but any 11 we put in that part, we feel they're capable of going out and winning. 1-1 drew 2, so unbeaten in 3, but ideally we feel a bit disappointed with the couple of draws, especially for the both draws that we went in front. We've had chances to give ourselves breathing space by, making that 2-goal lead at different points in the games. Didn't capitalise on that, and in both games we get punished because both Cumbernauld, who are a good team, and the Glens equalised, and they both end in draws. So an okay start, but if you asked us before it, we probably wanted better.
Mm-hmm. Again, though, it's obviously 3 games in, 5 points. It's an unbeaten start, but one thing I've spoke to every manager in this league about is just how deep it is, and you look at it as well. I think you'll agree, it's an unbelievably tough league.
I listened to your interview as well, all the managers in the league before the league started off, and I think there must have been about 9 or 10 managers that were saying the goal was promotion. I mean, or finishing that top 3. I mean, when do you ever really have a league where teams as many as that aspiring to finish all in that one position? And you even just need to look at the early results that you actually see how competitive the league is. And we're 3 games in, but not one team has managed to put 3 wins out of 3. So but even the teams who you maybe regard as well fancied, are maybe not flying as such of nobody will be hitting planet stations that have not hit top gear yet, because leagues aren't going to be won or lost in August, so plenty to play for.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll dive into the kind of results over the weekend in the first division in a few minutes, but we'll start with the Premier Division. Let's just run through the results at the weekend. Darvel 3, Kilwinning Rangers 1, Cambuslang Rangers 0, Auchinleck Talbot 1, Hurlford 3, Cumbernauld 1, Irvine Meadow 0, Atherley 1, Largs 1, Rob Roy 5, Petershill 0, B3, Pollok 3, Glenafton 2, Troon 3, Clydebank 1. We'll start at Darvel on Friday night. Darvel with a 3-1 victory. Again, a lot of people were saying it was kind of the two of the top teams in the league. Darvel were really good. I thought Alan McKenzie with a really good hat-trick. I think the bus will take time to settle. I think obviously it's been a complete overhaul there over the summer. A lot of new players coming in. Good in stages, I thought. I just think obviously once they kind of get a bit of a solid kind of run, I think they'll be fine. I do think they'll do really well. But Darvel, I was really impressed with them, and particularly the fact they brought in the Mackenzie's beginning to score goals, and they've got that focal point up front, which I felt at times they were lacking last season. I watched Darvel. I was really impressed. What was your thoughts when you heard that result?
So I've not actually seen the full highlights or anything of the game, but from my experience of watching Darvel afar, they're a well-oiled team in terms of the experience that they've got through that, through the team from the back right to the front. Boy, Mackenzie's been doing it for years. He's not only is a really good footballer, but he's a hard worker as well, and he's a really good teammate, you know. So he scored a hat-trick against a strong Kilwinning team. You know, I think Gormley's a real strong Kilwinning team, bringing in a few former senior players and adding a mix of youth to it as well, you know. So it did set itself up to be a good game. But Darvel at home, you always kind of fancied them to go and take the 3 points there, and I probably continue to expect to see that sort of winning form from Darvel here on going forward, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they bounced back well for the opening day defeat to Cumbernauld. Yeah. Obviously a big one against Auchinleck last week, and then scoring 3 again on Friday night. I spoke to Darvel manager Michael Kennedy and Kilwinning assistant manager Davy Adams about the reaction just after the game finished. So joined by Darvel manager Mick Kennedy. Mick, great result, you must be delighted with that.
Aye, listen, I'm delighted with the performance. I thought we were real control for large aspects of the game, and so delighted. As you said before the game, we'd won 3-1, you would have taken it, so I know I'm happy with that. I thought the first half we were a wee bit passive, loads of possession, we thought we did it, and we got sorted a few things at half time. I thought we were more intention to play, but I thought we were excellent. What about
Alan McKenzie getting a hat-trick as well, obviously scoring last week? He's in good form, you must be delighted to have him in the score sheet.
Listen, Alan's an exceptional centre forward at this level. He's got every aspect of his game. The only thing that lets him down sometimes is his finishing, and listen, if he could sort that out, the reality is he wouldn't be here playing football, because he's got every other part of the game you need. But he's been outstanding for us for the last couple of weeks. Listen, if I brought him to the club, he was one of my first signings here. I was desperate to bring him here, and there's been a lot of changeover in the squad early few years, but he's been an integral part of what we've done, so he's been outstanding for me.
Obviously it was a disappointing start losing the first game at home to Cumbernauld, but he's bounced back well against Auchinleck and winning 2 big results. Like, how good was that to get that boost after a disappointing start?
MD was at the Cumbernauld game. I actually thought we played really well. Listen, Cumbernauld had opportunities in the game, but I thought we'd lost control in the game for large periods, and we missed some really good opportunities in the game, and particularly in the last couple of minutes. I thought we could, if we'd went on and won it, I don't think Cumbernauld had been hard done to, but he didn't pick up the result. They get a good 3 points, but then you've got Talbot away and Kilwinning away. Listen, you could have dropped 9 points the first 3 games quite easily, so it's been good to bounce back against 2 clubs who you would imagine come the end of the season but they're competing alongside us, so if we can get up there, so no, I'm happy with that.
And as well, you look at obviously the players you've brought in, the squad looks to have a bit of depth it now. Like, how good's that been to get some new players in, and as you say, it's getting more players in the team just for like injuries and things like that must be big for you, especially if you want to defend your title.
We were ravaged by injuries last year. At the start of the season we really struggled, in the end of the season as well, down to the number of games we had to play. So we've got a good strong squad, a lot of depth in it, some really good boys in it as well, and listen, we're in a good strong position, but as I said to the boys in there, it's 3 games in, we've got 6 points on the table, there's a long way to go, so we just need to keep playing, plugging away. Remember, we won last season, we started well, we won our first 4 or something, and then we didn't win a game in 5, so there's loads of things that can happen in this. I think it's full of quality, but I'm just happy that we've got another 3 points and we move on.
Max, been an absolute pleasure, thank you very much.
Good seeing you as always, mate.
Cheers. So joined by Kilwinning coach Davy Adams. David, disappointing result, what was your overall takeaways for the game?
I thought we were always in the game, you know, and I thought we would get the ball down actually through. I thought we were a better footballing side, but we couldn't deal with that kind of long ball, and that was the case, and that's how the game finished the way it did, because we just couldn't deal with it. You know, we score a good goal, you know, and get ourselves back in the game, and you know, straight away they're up the park, and we concede a very sloppy goal. In fact, I'd say all 3 goals tonight were sloppy, so you know, you can't expect to give them away and come away with anything in a game, so it's something we need to address.
What was your kind of thoughts in Darvel as well? Were you impressed with how they played, or was it just one of those games for you, think?
Listen, we know they've got quality on their side and they play a certain way, you know, they look to hit the striker and move off him, do you know, and to be fair, I thought Mackenzie was decent tonight, you know, we didn't deal with him, do you know what I mean, and I felt, you know, if you deal with him, or whoever's up top with him, if you deal with that, then, you know, I've got no worries about, you know, competing against them. I think we showed that when they actually get the ball down and played.
What about obviously the start of the season, like the first one against Darvel Meadow, but obviously two defeats after that? Did you think it was going to take time to come in just to get the squad gelled with a lot of new players?
You know, this is a project, and as much as you want to hit the ground running, do you know what I mean? I think we were always going to come across that, and I've got to say, you know, and you know, the Troon result last week, you know, I don't think there's any teams in this league that, you know, that there's going to be an easy 3 points. It's simply not going to be the case. You know, that everybody works hard, they're bang at it. So, you know, I think you'll see quite a lot of these kind of results throughout the season. You know, that's, you know, although it was disappointing last week, I think that'll happen right across the board.
Davey, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, thanks very much.
Big thanks to Mick and David for doing those post-match interviews. But looking at the top of the table, the one place to start is Rob Roy, going to Lags and winning 5-1 and obviously sitting top of the league in goal difference. What a job Maxie's done there. Stuart Maxwell deserves a bunch of credit for that job. And Lags, I do think they'll struggle. I think they've lost that big vocal point up front in Will Sewell, but Rob Roy going there and winning 5-1 just shows how good a performance that is, and brilliant management, I would say.
Absolutely, and you know, Lags is my former team, a team close to my heart. You know, so it's always one of the first results I look out for on a Saturday, and I know Arnie will be really, really disappointed to lose at that at home as well. You know, especially when Lags had two draws out of two first league games against Glenafton and Pollok. So we went away to Pollok last week and got a good draw. But great start from Rob Roy, and like you say, Maxie's gathering a bit of momentum there, and you know, all credit for the start he's made for the start the season. But that's going to be one of the results of the weekend. You know, going away to Lags and winning 5-1. You know, and
Maxie said it as well. Like, and he said it in his. I saw a post-match interview he did. He said that 5 games last season the first 5 games they'd lost all 5. They're already 7 points better off already. So it shows you just that fast start. He was telling me he was desperate to get out the traps. And I mean, going to Lags, it's a tough place to go, no matter kind of how. And I think they will be. It will be a tough ask for them to really pick up Lags. I hope they do. A lot of people down there I like, and Arnie's a great guy, and it's going to be tough. But Rob Roy, what a start they've made so far. Hurlford ended Cumbernauld unbeaten start. That obviously a big 3-1 win for them. That's another team who are kind of doing well. Obviously, last season a brilliant season for them, and they've started the season as they mean to go on.
Yeah, I've seen the Hurlford goals. I think the first one was the one from Mackenzie. Taz, you know, he's a header. You're probably the smallest boy in the park. You know, then he goes up like a salmon. It was an absolute crack of a goal. I think he get assists later on as well. Cumbernauld, I've been really impressed with the first 2 games, and watching Cumbernauld from afar as well. Like the way, I think, if I'm remembering right, they've been lining up like in a 4-4-2 formation, which for a while that was an old-fashioned formation. But you're actually seeing more and more clubs adopt it now to go with the 2 strikers up top and their central mid of Boy Wilson and Finlay Fry and stuff. You know, and they've got great players all the way through the team. So. But all credit to Hurlford for winning their home game and going and beating a team who are the guards going to be strong this year as well. You know? Yeah,
I mean, it's some start for Hurlford as well. They're 2 teams who I think will be challenging to kind of get into the kind of top 4, top 5. I think they're both capable of doing it. I think as well, as you say, Taz has been there a while. Mark McKenzie's scoring goals as well. Like Jack Whittaker, I thought was brilliant last season. They're all coming back, and they're all kind of getting on the score sheet. They're all. And Darren needs that as well. Darren needs his kind of big players to have big saves, especially in games like that. I mean, a lot of people probably fancied Cumbernauld to get something. So Hurlford winning that game, I thought it's a massive 3 points for them. Pollok are another team in 7 points as well. They were 3-0 up at half time against Glenafton, but Glenafton done well to peg it back to 3-2. But again, Pollok stood out and got the 3 points, and a massive 3 points, I would say, as well, because when you're 3-0 up and you lose 2 goals, there's that there could be that momentum shift. But again, Pollok, they stay on and get the job done.
They did, and the thing is, though, they practically started 1-0 up. They gifted a goal. I don't know if you've seen the goal. The keepers went to take a goal kick. He wasn't set. The defence wasn't set, and I think it was a striker McCann who was alive and buried it. Daz Christie went on and I think he got 2 of them as well. And get man in the match there. You know, so then when you're 3-0 up after 20-25 minutes, you fully expect to go on and get it. All credit to Glens for getting 2 back. But I was having a look at the Pollok team as well. I mean, they've got some squad. You've got a lot of quality players, and you even just need to look at the bench and some of the guys that they had on the bench on Saturday just shows the strength and depth that they've got there. You know. Yeah, absolutely, and I think as well you've got likes of Darren Christie, Stuart McCann, Dylan Dykes, Stephen Docherty. I mean, you've got all this attacking talent, and they're going to be good. I think they're going to be really good this season. And again,
you get the job done early. You score 3 goals, it's tough. It's a tough ask. I mean, Glenafton deserve a bunch of credit for getting 2 goals back, and I think on another day, I think Pollok just had the better of them in the kind of closing them down in the end. We'll touch on the next game. Beath went to Petershill and got a 3-0 victory. Again, a really good start for Beath. 2 wins from 3 games. Petershill have a bit of a worry about, obviously, three defeats so far, but what was the kind of overall thoughts in that game?
So obviously Chris Train's season is the Beath manager from afar. You know, I've always had a massive amount of respect for him, because any teams that I played against for him, you know, they always played with a bit of style, a bit of flair, but they always are hard to beat teams as well. So it was nice to actually see him. I'm good friends with Sean Dillon, one of his co-assistants, and I was speaking to Sean on Saturday night about it, and he was absolutely buzzing with the result, and even more pleasing that, you know, being from growing up myself, I know some local boys, Rudy Lang from Port Glasgow, and the boy Andy Monk, who got on the score sheet as well. Andy Monk, who came from the Lowland Leagues, Sean was telling me he settled well and he took his goal well and stuff. So to get away from home, 1-3 quite convincingly as well was good from my Beath perspective. But Peasy will just need to kind of reset. It's 3 games in, you know, there's plenty to play for. No need to panic station. But good result for Beath, yeah. Yeah,
absolutely as well. Auchinleck, they got a win against a newly promoted side as well. They went to Cambuslang, got a 1-0 victory. I mean, obviously last week we spoke about how Darvel would obviously blown them away, but I mean, Auchinleck, people are thinking, is this the same Auchinleck team? But they still do it. I mean, 2 wins for 3 games, and they're never ever not going to stop winning that way, are they?
No, hook or by crook, they know how to win games, whether it's in style, whether it's grinding it out, and anybody who writes off Tucker or even, you know, doubts them is a fail in my book, to be honest with you. So to get away to Cambuslang, win 1-0 on, which probably isn't the best of pitches just now. You know,
yeah, I heard that. Yeah,
mentioned the pitches are tough surface. So again, it probably turns it into more of a battle, which at times we know Talbot's really good at that as well. But you know, the 1-0 on a tough pitch actually just shows how tight a game it was.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Arthurlie went to Irvine Meadow, 1-0 with 9 men. A really late goal as well. Just all reports a fiery game. Irvine Meadow, I've heard weren't at it at all. It was a really poor performance. But Arthurlie going there. I mean, I spoke to Cammy last week, and I said, you know, you'll be looking for a big reaction after 2 defeats. And I mean, 9 men shows you tremendous character to go and get that result.
It isn't half. And it was a good goal late in the game, ball over the top. I can't remember the striker's name again. He took it well though, because the pressure was on. He was running on 1-on-1, slotted it home. I've seen the two red cards as well, and I've seen a wee bit of comments on social media about, you know, whether it's a red card or not. And I've got my own thoughts on it. I think the boy Layden, who's went in for the tackle, yeah, I think he's won the ball. I genuinely think he's won the ball. For me, that's a real good, I wouldn't even say old-fashioned tackle. It wasn't dangerous. He was just committed and he won the ball. And I think with that sort of, it's where it, you know, even if it's a harsh referee, you know, it's 5-10 years ago, it was no more than a booking, you know. So the other one, I think that's just referee dependent. If you've got a lenient referee that lets it go, if you've got a harsh referee, kind of sends it off. So they'll probably feel a wee bit unlucky to be down to 9 men, but it probably makes the result even more sweeter to get away from home and win it with 9 men, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a massive result for Arthurlie as well. But I think Irvine Meadow will be looking at obviously a big result last week beating Clydebank, but they'll be hoping to pick up their home form, I would say. But the final game of the weekend in the Premier Division was Troon 3, Clydebank 1. I was there. I thought in the first half Clydebank could have been out of sight. I thought they were terrific. A lot of set plays. Craig Little scored a really good goal from a corner. They should have scored maybe 2 or 3 more. And Troon weren't at it at all in the first half. But there's something with this Troon team. They just have character. And they came out the second half. They were a completely different side. A brilliant free kick from Ben Black. Sam McCloskey with a great goal as well. And then they closed it really well with Jamie Gallagher just at the end. And you saw Troon just coming up and completely taking the game by the scruff of the neck and really showing that they don't give up. And I spoke to Gordon after the game, the Clydebank manager, and he just looked totally dejected. And I did feel bad for him. I thought, like, you didn't deserve that just in the first half performance, but it was massive credit to Troon for coming back and winning that game. Like, what was your thoughts when you seen that result? I hope you're following my coverage and knew how it was going.
Yeah, I seen it. I seen you that. It was a game that you chose. To be honest with you, the result didn't surprise me overly. You know, St Cadoc's played Troon during pre-season.
Right.
They beat us 4-2. Dino's assembled a really, really good squad. The front men is dangerous. You know, Ben Black is so quick. The boy McCluskey is a really talented player as well. And like you mentioned, they've shown that fighting spirit as well. I seen Craig Little. Craig was my former teammate, and he's been doing that for years in terms of corner kicks, bullet headers and stuff like that. You know, so he took his goal well.
What stood out to me as well is him and Jamie Darrick. I think will be really good together. Like that was the first time I'd seen them together, and they look really, really like they complement each other well. Jamie will win everything in there. I think Craig's a bit. He'll complement him well, I think. Yeah,
and you've got that sort of left centre back in Craig and right centre back in Jamie as well. So it's a good balance. But Clydebank are a good team. They'll bounce back and they'll be up there for the end of the season. You know, but the sounds of it, like you're saying, they were unlucky not to take something from the game. You know. Yeah,
I mean, I have to say as well, like they were so impressive in the first half. Like particularly they must have had about 20 corners. I actually run out of. Like, I was trying to keep a note of corners, and there was so many I just couldn't keep up with them. So it shows you they were getting forward. Just at times they weren't clinical. I mean, they had a few chances. I thought like they could have probably had one cleared off the line that I'm convinced wasn't. It should have stood, but again, obviously somebody closer to the goal will probably be able to tell me that if there was film. But again, I think both teams will do really well. I'm been really impressed with Troon. Actually, I did think Troon maybe struggle, but so far their character showed. And again, I spoke to Dino after the game, and he said it's just something changes at half time. Gannon just give them a kick, and they came out a different team. And on that, I will pass over to my interviews with Dean Keenan and Gordon Moffat after the Troon and Clydebank game.
So delighted to be joined by Troon assistant manager Dean Keenan. Dean, first half, I didn't see that result happening. Massive 3 points again.
No, we had to hang in. Had to rely on our goalie to make some good saves, and our back four and midfield two to defend really well. Front four just not at it at all first half. Couldn't get any rhythm in the game. I thought it was so stop-start. We kept giving away cheap fouls and conceding a lot of territory in the other half and defending corners and free kicks. And listen, when you're getting 12 to 14 free kicks and corners, there's going to be a time that you're going to come a cropper, and Big Craig put it away well. And to be honest, we were quite happy to be in the break 1-0 down with the way that the first half had went. But we get a few choice words for Jimmy, and second half I thought it was a right response. Goals change games, of course they do, but I felt as if throughout the half there was a goal coming. I thought our fitness levels were absolutely superb again, and I think that's something that obviously I think fitness is really subjective, and when you're ahead in the game and when you're coming back into it and that, sometimes it saps a wee bit of energy out of you. And I thought that the Clydebank boys maybe that done that. It's a hot day, you know, and they'll probably feel as if game of two halves, and I can completely understand that. But from our perspective, again, great character, great courage. Last week we came from behind twice to win. Today we've came from behind again to win. So overall, the 3 games that we've played, 3 teams that will be in the top 5, no doubt. At the end of the season, we've got to be delighted with 6 points.
Yeah, goals as well. Some of the finishes, it was really impressive just to see how well you fought back in the second half. Is that just show the character the boys have?
I think it does, and I think that we kept the core of the group. We've kept nearly everybody, apart from 1 or 2. So I think that they all know each other. They're another year down the line. And we know the expectations. Last year we weren't ready for the challenge that this league brings, but we are this year. We're ready for it, and we want to take it heads on and see where it brings us. You know, we want to be up there challenging the same as every other team does. We've obviously got a good break now. We've got a couple of cup games to look forward to, but we've targeted silverware. Everyone that you've spoke to in terms of the media and what have you, we've targeted silverware for that group, and I think in the basis of the games that we've played so far, I think it's easy to see why. So the problem is for us that is, and doing it it's not a problem. The challenge is to do it on a consistent basis. So that's what we'll be looking to do. But overall, got to be pleased with 6 out of 9. Should have been more, but we'll take that and move on.
Dino, thank you very much, my pleasure.
No worries, mate.
So delighted to be joined by Clydebank manager Gordon Moffat. Gordon, didn't see that result coming at half time. You must be disappointed with how the second half went.
An understatement. That's an understatement. I'm the same as you. I thought first half we were very good. We did a lot of stuff last week. Obviously it was uncomfortable last week. There was a lot of stuff wasn't right. We spent a bit of our sessions this week looking at a video and asking for a reaction. I thought we got that. I thought the boys were excellent first half. Had real control. When they playing obviously football that we can, but I thought we had real control in the game. Probably unlucky not to go in with a couple more for set plays and that. And then we just spoke about one or two wee things that could maybe get them back in the game at half time and what to tighten up on. And we never done it. And they, you know, as Troon do, I was saying that to our guy there, you know, Jimmy and Dino try and get a reaction. They got a reaction and we didn't deal with it, and very frustrating.
Were you disappointed how flat they were coming out in the second half? It just felt as if there was they dropped a couple of gears in the.
Well, I think we actually started the second half well. Right for the kick-off, we knocked the ball back, we take it to them. Lee Gallagher nearly slides Josh in one-on-one and just overhits it, or Josh doesn't get his touch. And so I actually thought we started the half all right. And I think it's frustrating that their goal comes from absolutely nothing. You know, a ball in the channel, a cheap free kick, and just an incredible goal to lose. You know, flighted over Kello. I still don't know how that goes in. And they obviously got a lift for that. We took a wee dent for that. But you've got to be stronger than that in this league, Scott. We need a better reaction. And you know, again, as I was saying to Davey there for us, that at the end of the day I'm the leader of this team, Scott, so that's on me why we don't get the reaction. And I think you know, I can hear the support. I heard them last week at half time, the boos and that. They're right because it's not acceptable, and someone will need to change. We've now got a friendly going into the Scottish Cup tie and we're going to need a hell of a bounce back, because we're only 3 games in. I get that and I don't want to overreact, but I'm not accepting that.
See, obviously how we've got a couple of cup games coming up, which I think there'll be a kind of welcome break and then you can kind of pick up in the league hopefully.
I mean, that's the hope. I think we've spoken Thursday going into the break off the back of victory, which is kind of what, you know, at the top level you see that with international breaks and that's what you want to do. And I think now that's a real sore one. You've got to go and stew in that now. We've got a friendly match next week and then the Scottish Cup the week after, so we need to pick ourselves up, and it needs to be, you know, that second half reaction needs to be a hell of a lot better.
Gordon, thank you very much, my pleasure.
No worries.
So a huge thanks to Dean and Gordon for doing those interviews after the game, and we'll move on to the First Division. We're as well starting at Rutherglen 2, St Cadoc's 2. 2 teams I would say that are probably trying to kind of get in the promotion spots. And what was your kind of reaction to the game? Was it a fair result, or were you disappointed you didn't walk away with all 3 points?
Well, disappointed as a management team and collectively as a, you know, as a group with the players as well. To be leading, you know, 2-1. We didn't kick on when we should have. We had chances, you know, to extend the lead and make it a 2-goal, give it a wee bit of gap, a wee bit of breathing space. And that's been a reoccurring theme in the first 3 games of the season. Away to Shotts, Cumbernauld and the Glens, that we're getting in front, but we're not, you know, I wouldn't want to say killing teams off, but giving ourselves that bit of breathing space, and it's giving teams something to come and get at us, you know. So Glens took their equaliser really well. We pinpointed Mick Kennedy as somebody who's really, really dangerous in the air at set pieces, and sure enough, they come up with a good for them, you know. So and it's something like, it's that this league is full of dangers at set pieces for, you know, many different teams. You've got Boy Murphy at Kilburnley, you've got Boyle at Cumbernauld, Hewitt at Gartcairn, Burn at Glens. You know, there's some real monsters there that can really hurt you at set pieces. And we knew that was a danger, you know, and it was something we spoke about, how we wanted to defend it and work on, and it's something we're going to need to address as well, because that's 2 weeks in a row that it's equalisers that didn't need to be equalisers, the games that, in my opinion, should have been out of sight for us. So, look, we're 3 games in, 1-1, drew 2. We've got a rest from the league, a cup game, a friendly on Saturday, a cup game the following week, and then we are back into league duties. And at that point, hopefully get some of our injured players and stuff like that back, and we've got a bit more strength and depth in the squad, because injuries had hampered us from the first game of the season. But look, Glenn's a strong team, ex-Premier team. You could tell, you know, that, and they've got some really, really good and dangerous players throughout. So, but it was a bit disappointed not coming out with the 3 points, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, we'll touch on the league leaders as well. Neilston are top on goal difference. They won 4-0 against Rossville, a very convincing performance. Dylan Henry with a double. Neilston have been a bit of a surprise package, a really good start for them. Obviously, 2 wins and a draw for 3 games.
I wouldn't say surprise. You know, see at the start of the season, I would probably had them up there challenging for promotion. Anybody who goes to the Brigger Lees, you know, it's going to find a tough venue to go to. I think, you know, with Carson, Chris Cameron, and David Gordon, they've got a good, strong management team there. The big boy Ewan Clark's a tremendous defender and a leader, and they've got, you know, players like Henry and Fletcher throughout the team, and different players that can hurt you, you know. So I'm absolutely not surprised at all when it comes to St Cadoc's facing Neilston. They'll get 100% of respect and the credit they deserve when we line up against them. So no, it's not a surprise for me, to be honest with you.
Okay, yeah, some start for Neilston as well. Rossville, you're a bit worried for them. Like, I think I've spoken about this last week. I think the management team, I think they've been dealt a bit of a bad hand. I think they're going to struggle. I've got a lot of time for both of them, but I just think it's a bit of a bleak situation there at the moment for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. It's a lot of turnaround for the new gaffer to come in and show things up, and coming down for the Premier League, and so much happening, and you know, in Rossville's situation, it's a big ask, you know. But all credit for the fella for standing in and you know, and trying to rally his team and make a good go of it this season. So hopefully see him pick up and they'll start getting a few wins on together, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Cumbernauld as well, a big 4-1 win over Shotts. They've been really good at home as well. A big win over Drumchapel a couple of weeks ago. Like, they're a team to keep an eye on, aren't they?
Absolutely. And when we drew 2 each with them last week, and you know, I thought they were a really good team. Boy Fulton centre mid, Gavin Mackey as well, 2 good players, and then the boy Danny Boyle at the back, who's, you know, colossal in defence and a very dangerous at set pieces as well, you know. But I probably was surprised at the actual gap in the result 4-1, because when we played Shotts the opening game of the season, Shotts gave us a right good game of it, and it was probably in a similar ilk the way Cumbernauld did. You know, they were in our faces, they worked hard, they made us scrap for anything that we were going to take from the game. But obviously the Cumbernauld shown that their home pitch guys medal is going to be a tough place to go. So a good start from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, other results: Benburb 2, Johnson 2, Bonnet 0, Blantyre 2. If there's a result that sums up how unpredictable this league will be, Kilburnie 0, St Roch's 1. I mean, Kilburnie last week looked amazing. That looked an amazing result. Them going 4-1 away and winning. St Roch's, I think, after a poor start, they've recovered brilliantly in their past 2 games, and going to Kilburnie and winning 1-0 was a massive result for them.
Yeah, really good friends with Tommy, who's a Kilburnie gaffer. I was speaking to him last week, and he was sky high on the back of his result, and look, they'll bounce back after that defeat. I have no doubt about it. The squad that Tommy's assembled from coming down to the Premier and then resetting and assembling for this season is a really strong one. I know quite a lot of the players, having played with them or worked with them previously, have absolutely no doubt coming into the season they'll be up there. I think when their fans are back in, then they'll be even stronger as well. You know, that whole 12-man effect. But you know, all credits to Sir Rox are putting 2 in a row. You know, I really like the boy Kieran Doe. I think he makes them tick, and he plays on a different side as well. You know, so if they keep him fit, keep him in the team, then they'll be a threat to anybody. Yeah,
absolutely as well. And again, Whitlett's 3, Gartcairn 4. I mean, just a 7-goal thriller. I think anybody at Dan Park on Saturday would get their money's worth. But again, Gartcairn, a team that will be wanting to compete at the top, and Whitlett's have had a terrific start. It's a big win for Gartcairn, but Whitlett's have had a really good start as well.
Yeah, and from my point of view, being the other side of Ayrshire, it's probably one of the teams in the league that I least know. So it's probably more from whether it's John Keenan and myself, from that point of view, that we probably need to do a bit more homework. And I'm speaking on behalf of myself. Maybe John and Kieran know more about them than I do, but what a start that they've had. I think the boy Pope's the gaffer there, former Talbot player. So if he's instilling that, old school Talbot mentality, then they'll be a tough force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a massive one for Gartcairn as well. You've been impressed with their start?
I have, and I think it's one of the ones that they were going to be up there as well. I know they've got a new gaffer and stuff, but they've got some real good players that I've played against the last couple of years as well, and I think they'll be up there by the end of the season. So.
Yeah. And the final result to touch on, Thornleywood 3, Drumchapel 1. Ali Small with a hat-trick. I mean, but Ali Small, he does it time and time again for that team. And if Thornleywood, tough start, lost their first 2 games, but Ali Small coming back, it's a massive plus for them.
Yeah, as in he's a top player. They had a really strong season last season. He's carried on into this season, So if you have a hat-trick against a side that's got to be one of the favourites for the league, it's some result. But St Cadoc went to Thornleywood maybe about April time last year. We get beat 3-0 as well, So it's going to be a tough place to go, and all credit to the manager, Jamie Nesbitt, for assembling that squad and keeping the squad together, and building on the momentum from last season. But Drum will bounce back. I mean, they're a class side. They'll bounce back, and I know they've maybe not had the results the first 3 games, but they've got equality all the way through the squad, and I know that Gary McKinnon, the coach, has taken up the number 2 position at Accies as well, which will be a bit of a blow off the park as well, because we what he brings probably off the park, his experience and where he's played at, will be a big loss to them. But they've got class all the way through the team, and they'll be there near the end of the season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think once they kind of get a run going, I think they'll be fine. Second division was full of goals at the weekend. Only one team in the league didn't score. Renfrew, I want to start with them, 4-1-1 over St Anthony's. They had a really impressive start, won their first 3 games, 8 goals, and I think there's something really good happening at that club.
Yeah, I didn't have any doubts that Jimmy Quigley would be able to rally his team together and make a really good start for it. They were probably disappointed not to be in that top 4 from the conference last year. So I had him down as one of my favourites to go and make a right impression in that league, and he's kept together quite a lot of the what I would say regarding more experienced players from the squad in the previous years getting into this one, which will stand them in good stead, and it's paid off so far. Yeah,
I mean, dominant Innes with a double as well. When they've got likes of Kieran Diver, Scott Morton, they've just got a terrific front line. They've got goals just all the way through that team. The team joining them at the top of the table are Craigmark. They won 1-0 against Yoker yesterday. That was a big thing of 2 teams who had a really good start for first 2 games, and Craigmark a big victory for them. And again, I was very impressed with the start Yoker had made, and Craigmark have went there and got a really good result.
Yeah, again, to be honest with you, it's a team that's a bit of an unknown for me, and it's one that keeps catching the eye every time you're searching the results, and you're like, it's another one, so they're obviously getting a bit of momentum there, so we'll see how that develops through the season.
Absolutely, yeah, a big one for them. The game of the weekend is without a doubt Ashfield 5, Maybole 5. Mick McCann get 4 goals. I mean, for Maybole, that game must have had everything.
I know, and Maybole's one of these places as well. It's like a tough venue to go and score 5 goals out, and score 5 goals away from home. You expect to come up the road with 3 points.
Yeah.
So to be a draw, they must be disappointed. And Ashfield's made a cracking signing and recruiting Bobby Barr as well. I think the last couple of weeks been playing as a trialist, So he'll no doubt be a massive boost to not even on the park, but even lifting boys at training stuff, to have somebody that has calibre and quality and around the younger boys to bring them on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Glasgow United, they made a good start to the season. They beat Muirkirk 3-2 at home. The two teams that have got off the mark this weekend were Kilsyth Rangers and Maryhill. Kilsyth went to 4th and won 4-2. Maryhill 3-2 winners over Glasgow Uni. They come back for 2-1 down. Maryhill to secure the points. Ardere as well, a big one for them. They beat Wishaw 3-2, and the other game of the weekend was Glasgow Perthshire 2, Greenock Juniors 2. What kind of results stand out to you in the second division so far?
It's probably right through, you're charging on, keeping that momentum going is probably the one that's caught my eye. One of, my former club, Greenock Juniors, so it's one I keep an eye out, and good luck to get into that new season with a new Greenock squad he's assembled. It's been a lot of change in personnel, and being from Greenock, can see locally some of the great stuff he's doing and putting his stamp on it. So I'm looking out for their results as well, and hope they can pick up a bit of momentum. So I think they've won 1 through 1 and lost 1 now. Yeah. So a decent start with a new young team, and they've added a couple of more experienced players over the last few days as well. So it's one that a team that I hope gets up to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a big mention as well. Like Maryhill and Kilsyth getting wins in their first wins of the season. Ardere a good win. A lot of goals this weekend as well. I think you're going to see that a lot this season. I think there's a lot of teams in there that are capable of scoring a good few goals between them. So again, that's a league worth keeping an eye on. In the third division, Kello and Lanark continued their really good starts to the season. Kello a 5-0 win over New Mains, and Lanark went to Vale of Leaving and won 3-1. Two really good starts for them.
Yeah, and it's just a case of just trying to build the momentum and get away from the pack, So when you've actually got a good start like that, then you just got to keep pulling away. So the gaffers there will just be trying to rally troops in terms of keeping them focused and getting the points and starting to cut a wee bit of distance between them and the others. Yeah,
I mean, East Kilbride Thistle was well a 2-2 draw with Ardrossan. East Kilbride, I think a lot of hype on them, kind of the players have signed, but they've had an unbeaten start, but will they be disappointed they've not turned? I mean, they've 3 draws after 4 games. They'll be disappointed they've not turned a few of them into wins.
Probably, given the fact that the players they recruited and the experienced players and the people have played senior and won things as well. They'll not be taking the draws lightly or thinking it's acceptable to for 3 draws. So I think they'll be picking up soon, to be honest with you. As soon as those teams start to gel, more plays together, more fitness, more run of games, get used to how each other plays, then the momentum, those draws will turn into wins, and the draws come near the end of the season could be valuable points.
Yeah, a word on Les Mahago as well. 3-1 victory over Bells Hill. When you take away that 8-0 defeat to Irvine Vicks, they've actually had a terrific start. They've won 3 out of 4 games, but again, just that 8-0 defeat last week will probably have hit them for 6. But it's a good recovery to go and to win at home to Bells Hill, and it's been a good start apart from that one game.
Yeah, all credit to them for bouncing back that way. That's tough. You go into your training where you train on Monday or Tuesday night, following an 8-0 defeat. So it's all credit to the management team for picking up the players, and actually for the players to go in and addressing it the first time round in the next game. So fair play to them, and I've got a lot of respect for anybody that can bounce back with that right away. Yeah, absolutely as well. A word on Irvine Vicks, they've had a really good start as well. 15 goals in their first 4 games, and again a 2-0 win away to Royal Albert. Royal Albert's a place I'm sure you'll agree. I think you have to get your socks up and work hard, and that's a good result for Irvine Vicks. And Franny Kilpatrick, again a friend of the show, getting another goal. Yeah, I see. Boy Kilpatrick's done really well this season. I've watched the highlights of the Vicks post and stuff, and he's the one that keeps catching the eye and getting on the ball, making things happen and just being a constant menace for teams. And I think he'll have a huge part in terms of if they keep him fit, keep him in the team, then he'll have a huge part in where Irvine Vicks actually arrive at the end of the season. Yeah, definitely, I'd agree with that. Dorai 2-1 over Port Glasgow, big win for them. Lark Hall 5-1 over Saltcoats. That's another massive result. They've started quite well as well. 7 points with 4 games. It's Girvan 1, Lugar 0. Girvan, I think, obviously, Girvan and Lugar, I think there'll be 2 sides will be kind of hoping to kind of get up the top at the end of the season, and they are
I think they're two decent sides, but again, it's just been. What's your kind of thoughts in that league? Like, I think that's another really tough league to call. But is there any teams catching your eye so far?
Probably Invicts are the ones that are actually that I'm probably seeing the most highlights from. I'm probably seeing the most consistency when it comes to actually churning out results and stuff. So Irvine Vicks for me will be up there near the end of the season. They're the team that's probably caught my eye so far.
Brilliant. We'll move into the 4th division, the final division we'll talk about. Threave Rovers, West Park United and Kilsyth Athletic kept their run going. Their winning starts, all keeping clean sheets as well. Threave Rovers won 4-0 away to Thorn Athletic. West Park United going to Campbelltown and winning 3-0. Kilsyth Athletic 6, Eglinton 0. These are 3 teams that I think are going to be tough to split. I think all 3 are really impressive so far this season.
Yeah, perfect starts for them. So it's just a case of we'll need to wait till they see when they play each other to see who comes out on top and who gets out the edge and can keep the momentum going. So just need to kind of sit back and enjoy what's going to unfold in front of us over the next few weeks and months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of kind of things about kind of Threave Rovers. I spoke about it last week. Like, I didn't understand getting into the West, but I mean, I think they're more than capable of going up the leagues. And Kilsyth Athletic, a really young manager, I think a really bright manager. West Park have done it really well at amateur level. They've took to the step up really well so far. There's a lot of unknown with this league as well. There's a lot of kind of where's teams going to be and things like that. But I mean, these 3 have started really well. You like St Peter's in there. Rossville have had a good start. BSC Glasgow as well. They won at the weekend. Glenvale got their first win. There's a lot of teams in there that you just don't know how well they'll get on.
Yeah, completely. BSC Glasgow is one of the teams that we play in a couple of weeks' time. The St Cadoc will play them in the cup game, So we'll be doing a bit of homework on them and getting to understand their strengths and weaknesses as well. Like you mentioned, a good result at the weekend. So it's a game that we might be seen as a couple of divisions up or whatever, but a game we will not be taking lightly. So we want to go and go far in this cup, and we know that we need to give them the full respect to go in and get a result there. So, but like you say, it is a bit of an unknown league. Everybody's on a level playing field. There's a lot of teams in it for the first time, so why not go and have a crack at it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a really fascinating kind of couple of weeks. Obviously, the league's taking a bit of a break, but Wednesday we have some games in the 3rd division. I'm just going to run through them right now. Newmains United play Lanark Thistle. Port Glasgow versus Vale of Leven. Saltcoats versus Girvan. Ardrossan play Kello. Vale of Clyde, Vidal Rye. Bellshill versus Royal Albert. Irvine Victoria play Fanart. Lanark play East Kilbride Thistle, and Luga play Les Mahago. Some good action over during the week.
Yeah, they definitely are. The Lanark East Kilbride one will be an interesting one. The Lanark parts, I think probably this time of the year it's a really, really good surface. And given the fact that we spoke about some of the players that East Kilbride have signed as well, they'll want to go and actually put on a bit of a show and turn those draws into wins. So that'll be one. Port Glasgow at home, Port's had a bit of a mixed start in how they started the season. They've got the new guy from Stephen Wilson, and you can see he's changing things and putting his style on things, and they're gathering momentum with a bit of a new squad as well. So they'll hope to get their home win as well, and being local to myself, I hope they do pick up as well. So we want to be watching out to possible when I can get along to as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I might take in a game on Wednesday. We'll just see what happens. But I'll touch a bit in the St Cadoc, what's coming up. Obviously, the Strathclyde Cup against BSC Glasgow. That's a cup. Is that a cup you're kind of keen to win? Obviously, Drumchapel won it last season, and they've got the kind of Scottish Cup route. Is that something you're keen to kind of compete in this season?
We're never ever going to line up and go into a cup and no want to win, but we'll just take whatever games in front of us. Ultimately, it's down to the gaffer John in terms of whether he's going to mix up the team, change the selection or the formation or style and approach. But by all accounts, we'll be there to go and win it. And as we will be with any game. Disappointed to lose in the cup game against Drumchapel, and obviously we're the best team, the Scottish Cup adventure and stuff. That is the part of the incentive of wanting to do well in this cup, and getting so close But so far, last season's maybe hopefully we could do something better. But we'll take one game at a time. And the first obstacle is BSC Glasgow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, Greg, and I've really enjoyed going through the results with you. I really appreciate it and wish you the best of luck for the season ahead.
Thank you so much, mate. Thanks for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in. Please continue to follow our West of Scotland Football League coverage on the channel, and we'll be back next week to do another review show. Thanks very much. We'll see you soon. Cheers.